I grazed the top of that one. Alright, so a lot of people don't know, but chucks are a very good grappling weapon. Say this is actually up here. Right, maybe I'll just horse stance down to get it to the right place. So they throw their arm, let's say this is they're facing me, their left arm right, and I do a bagua, walk to the left side, and flip the chuck over, and grapple the arm, huh? You can also, let's say it's a weapon, you can grapple the weapon. If it's a long weapon, if it's a short blade, I would not do the blade. You might let the blade come under your pit, right? And then grapple the wrist, right? Now, you want to try to grapple on someone's arm here, here, or here, right? Or maybe you can throw it around their neck. That could probably do something I've never tried. Okay, interception is a fencing art. The idea of interception, let's say this is the end of somebody's reach, right? Is you're going to stay one step or lunge away from the enemy's reach, right? This works as defensive technique, right? If you're trying to hurt somebody, you're not going to be intercepting as well as if you're defending yourself, right? So the idea is you want to goad somebody into overreaching or overthrowing their momentum, or taking, basically forcing their attack to take longer than your attack. And as soon as you see the overreaching attack, you come in quick, right? And you make a faster attack inside of their attack. And then there is no need for countering, no need for parrying, if you're doing it right, right? But let's say you missed a little bit, you still can turn that interception into a parry or a counter, and it'll be good. And what you want to look for in interception, if somebody is a good fighter, they're going to initiate an attack with the hip first, right? If they're a bad fighter, they're going to initiate the attack, by pulling back, giving you a telegraph, and throwing their shoulder first. Very easy to intercept somebody who fight this way. And in a real life, you're not really gonna be fighting people with a lot of discipline and training and know-how, because those people have discipline, which means they're probably not picking fights out in the public. So a lot of times, more often than not, easy to fight people on the streets with no discipline, who use all these telegraphing attacks. Even people who train only, like beautiful martial arts and nakatas and stuff, but don't have any real fighting experience, are easy to fight, can fight 2 or 3 of those kinds of people at one time, no problem. I will make a video. Maybe I'll do it with the juggling video, because the juggling is what taught me a good way to fight multiple opponents. With multiple opponent video, I'll make that later. But interception. So first thing you want to look for is the hips, and then if they're not using the hips first, they're going to use the torso first. But even before the hips and the torso, they're going to maybe use their eyes first, right? All right, I'm going to have to make the multiple opponent video because the eyes, right? So the best way to see something happening is to quit focusing. This is not baseball. You don't want to focus on ball, right? Because ball's not the only thing going to be coming at you. You could have 2 fists, 2 feet, elbows and knees coming at you. You can't focus on all those things at one time. So you have to use peripheral vision always and only when you're fighting. You want to have your guard up. You want to have your chin down. You want to be able to see a little bit behind you in case somebody, friend of the enemy, come behind you. You can see the steps potentially before they put their arms around your neck or kick you in the back of the spine and try to break your back, something like so, right? You want to see, you want to know. So you don't want to focus. When you are just using peripheral, like you have to do when juggling, this is what taught me this idea, then you're seeing the whole picture at one time. And when you're not focusing, you're processing the whole picture faster. So it increases your frames per second that you can see in, and yes, you can see in frames per second. And the more you study and watch fast people do fast things and fight fast ways, you'll see more frames per second. And as you see more frames per second, faster people won't seem as fast to you anymore. And it will allow you to have a better sense of timing. There's nothing better besides maybe interception. It's a hard toss-up between having interception and excellent timing, right? That is the key. So yeah, you can intercept the eyes. If they don't know how to use peripheral, they're gonna look where they strike. So then you know, right? So it's gonna be the eyes, then it's gonna be the hips or the shoulders. And then before the eyes even, you can sense intention. I have sensed intention when I was attacked by a guy with an axe. I was walking, you know, this was a security job when I did security work for a place. We had a farm where we was taking care of brain dead adult men. They did not, you know, they stood around kind of like this, or kind of smiling, sometimes happy, sometimes laughing all day long, but sometimes snap, and the demons come in them and they scream, "I'm gonna murder you," or whatever else, and they go crazy, and all of a sudden somebody really weak all of a sudden have power to punch through car windshield or whatever else. One time somebody unfortunately got hold of an axe, and I'm walking to my weights I have set up outside, right? I just been doing some stuff with the fella, right? And I'm feeling safe, and I go to the weights, and all of a sudden I have bad feeling, and I look, and he's running at me maybe 30 feet away with the axe. And what do? Some Jackie Chan stuff, man. That guy, that's the best martial art I ever learned. Observe the surrounding. What do I have around me that I can use? A shovel that is exactly halfway between him and me. So I bolt right for that shovel. We'll have a quick bout. The guy realized you're never gonna get anywhere near me with that axe when I have the longer distance weapon, and I can just chop the fingers off if he gets real serious about it. And then when he's calm, you know, when he's not trying to get me so much, I just put the shovel here, I hold it like a staff, I pull my phone and I film a little bit, but I'm not gonna show because maybe the guy is better now, and we don't want his face on the internet and him seeing that, and you know, that would not be good for him. I would not ever do that to this guy, because I don't hate the guy, right? I might have been very mad at him at the time, but I don't hate the guy. So we won't show the video unless maybe one day I find a way to blur it out, but the video is just me filming him with the axe. He's not doing anything yet, and me just trying to talk him down. But then by the end of it, he attacked again, and I have to throw the camera down, and we go at it for about 10 minutes or so till he was worn down. Had a few, lots of fights just with random guys, hand combat, no problem. Always ends fast, because I would run just so quick at him and right in the temple. Always snapped him out of it when I could hook right in the temple. Had a few bouts with blunted weapons. Those were more fun. When there's no blade involved, I have a lot more fun. But the blade, I did not like so much that. I was done after that, I'll be honest. I did not want to, now I live in peace life. No more security work for me. I've had enough. 3 or 4 years of that was enough for me. I don't want to do any more of that. But anyway, I sense the intention, right? Dogs can sense intention. I can prove it. Maybe one day I'll get the filming of it. But Artie Boy there likes to play Stick Boy. Stick Boy is the game where he grabs a stick and he runs around and I chase him. And in this tight pen, he can outmaneuver me. But at a big field, I can outrun him easy and get stick. But here I have to trick him by waiting for him to lay down and chew on the stick. But if I run at him or walk at him with intention to take the stick, he'll get up before I'm too close and run off again. But if I walk at him like maybe I'm looking at the birds or something, and I walk and I have no intention in my mind to take the stick, I can just, and the stick is mine, right? So you can sense intention. Intercepting, you can sense intention. And so that's the first thing you'll intercept is intention. And that will prepare you to go as soon as you see the eyes commit, right? When the eyes commit and the body barely start to move, you just come in right quick and you get them, right? All right, now I teach you a little bit everything I know about fighting with the blade. So if you master that art of interception, pretty much any weapon you can use it with. You become way more efficient than someone who's trained lots of stuff with their weapon, but no interception, right? Because it's like, you can do all this fancy stuff you want, but if all I got to do is wait for the right moment and just do that, what's all that fancy stuff going to do for you? Nothing. But I'll show you a few things anyway. First, I'll tell you, you got the 3 sections of the sword, right? Think of it as thirds. Top third, middle third, bottom third, right? So this point right here between the 2 thirds is where you want to hit somebody's top point if they're using a sword, right? So if I connect, let's say that's the top point, I will connect there, right? Because here I have control, and there they don't have as much control. So you will move out the way, and then you come in. So let's say I block from the bottom, they're coming at the bottom, upward angle strike. I'll block with my bottom third, I'll scoot the sword out of the way, and turn and slice, right? So if you control their weapon, if you can connect here to their weapon here, right? Now, things you can do to practice maneuvering around their stuff, so you can, let's say I caught the top of their weapon as they're coming in. I want to scoot it away, right? And then turn the blade and slice, right? You want to slice something like this, right? Not like this, but you curve as you slice, right? Curve it as you slice. You want to have strong grip on your sword, hands far apart like this, so you can, right? You can pull this way and push this way, and you get good slicing. See how it's not straight down, it's slicing. Okay, so you can practice something like you want to keep the tip of the sword facing like this, right? This is a saber practice I learned in Tai Chi. This is just helpful. I really like to do this exercise with a really long stick and hold it at the very end of the heavy staff, because then it turns into a muscle workout, right? And a wrist makes your wrist really strong. And then the other one you want to do is you make the circles around so that the center of your blade is kind of staying at a point. And the tip of the blade is making a circle around this piece here. But really, that's all I practice with sabers. That's all I know. As long as you know how to intercept and how to counter by using your control end against their controlled end, then you will be better off than most. That is a good enough, I think, video for weapons. Now I'll show you maybe a little bit what you would call trick chucking. Hopefully I don't step in any of the poops. Again, keep grabbing the handle on that one. I have not done this in a long time. Yeah, that's the hardest one there under the legs. This one's pretty easy. I got that one imitating all those moves. It's not good to do this in a shirt, because I keep grabbing pieces of the shirt with the nunchuck. But I don't really care for trick chucking. Have not messed with the nunchucks in like 10 years. That's probably a lie. Since 2019, so however long that's been. Another funny thing that happens sometimes, I've had happen, is in my loose shorts, I'll sometimes, during that thing, I'll sometimes get stuck in my pocket like that. That's pretty funny. But when you saw when I was doing the combat chucking on the bag, my combat chucking skills have not really digress much. They're pretty still on point. I didn't hit myself one time with them, but it can happen. And that's why with the iron body training, when I hit myself with the chucks, don't even feel it. You can hit the side of the knee, side of the hip. I've grazed my head once, but you know, I keep the hand really high. I'm pretty conscious, so I teach you how to use now. What you want is it to be straight, right? With no kink in the chain when you're using them, right? And I trained like this for a long time. See how I use the body, how I use the body to do. And the thing about, you want to keep the chuck chain straight. The reason for that is because as soon as there's kink in the chain, you lose connection with other end of the chuck. When the chain is straight, you're one with the chuck, and you know, I know where this is. And so as soon as there's kink in the chain, all of a sudden the connection is lost, and then when I can feel there's kink in the chain when I'm combat chucking, all of a sudden my hand will move because I know something might be coming back at me, right? And so that way, that is also why when you're using a blunt weapon, you want to hit it with just the tip, just the very tip of the weapon. You hit here, kink and chain, comes back. You hit tip, you know there's follow through, right? So you don't want to be smacking like that unless, like you see in my combat chuck video, I'm too close to the enemy and I want to reach behind and bounce it off the back of them. That is a different thing. Still though, you'll see, you hear the same sound it's making when I'm hitting the bag, right? You hear the same sound of effect of just the tip hitting, right? Just the tip hitting, and I'm maintaining no kink in the chain. And so I know where the other end of my chuck is. So the best thing you can do for combat training is not so much this stuff here, which, golly, geez, I used to could do this really well. I promise you. If you want to go back and see when I was really good at the trick chucking, you can go check one of my very first videos. I think it's the second video I ever posted. It's just called Fast Nunchucks, or you can just look up Gong-Fu Hermit Fast Nunchucks. Really cool looking video. And still I am using my body, right? I'm still using my body with trick chucking, and that's how you can tell if somebody is efficient combat wise, is if when they're chucking and they look like this, and they only use the arm, right? They're no good. They could be flashy with the chucks all they want and do way more cooler tricks and stuff than I care to do or can do, but they will never beat me combat chuck wise. They're gonna lose so hard. But if you want to do the trick chucking, my favorite things, you know, to practice, which I'm probably never going to get real good at again, but I'll show you here anyway, is, you know, you start with this. If you're going to get into chucking to begin with, this I do recommend you do. I recommend you do this. This gets a good sense of keeping the chain straight. And I would say do this 30 minutes to an hour every day for 2 or 3 months until you get a good sense of oneness with the chuck. As soon as you have the sense of oneness with the chuck, you don't really need to do that anymore, and you can go into striking things, which we'll go over that after I show you just a few things you want to maybe that I know about the tricking. So the next trick is behind the back. You come up like this, right? Just grab it there. You come around. So you just, man, I really wish, I'm probably just being a little nervous. But yeah, you just practice that over and over again, like so. And then if you want to add a turn with the same movement, right? Or you can, hold on, let's see. You can just keep turning in the same direction, like so. I'll try to give you a better example. Right, something like that. Make you feel real Star Warsy. And then the last thing is the end of the leg. we just come around the leg like so, and grab, and grab. Try not to grab the chain like I did. Alright. Now I'm striking. Good way to practice. You're just swinging your hips, right? Left and right strike, swinging the hips. And then when you're here, come up. And you want to bounce the chuck off the tricep. Won't hurt. Won't hurt. Just practice bouncing off the tricep, like so. Right? Grab some gumballs or ping pong balls or whatever, throw them up in the air. Practice your precision. Very, very hard to do. Right. Vertical strikes. You can bounce off the leg or the glute. Right. Let's see. That's probably good for now.